Alright guys, my name is Mike, and welcome to Genshin Impact. So today I kind of wanted to try something a little bit different in terms of making a video, just something that's a little bit easier to make, and something that just doesn't feel like as formal. Just because I still do have a bit of problems kind of coming up with ideas for making some of the videos that I did previously in terms of Amber. If you guys saw my last video with Amber, admittedly that video was really fun to make. It's just that I'm kind of self-conscious about supplying some of my knowledge and my opinions on other characters in the game, so I just kind of wanted to take something a little bit different for today's video. Just something that I can kind of play and mess around with and have a bit of fun, just kind of talk about things while, just playing the game as I usually do. Nothing too crazy. Because when it comes to, a lot of video games in today's day and age now, I do have a lot of stuff in terms of my own opinions on what's going on and how I think things are going. And I kind of just want to, talk about that a little, vent about it a little. Not necessarily vent, but I just kind of want to share my thoughts and see if anyone really kind of shares my opinions on certain things. Because, if we look at games like ones that I was primarily playing in the past, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Rainbow Six, all FPSs and things like that, I'm obviously not playing games like that as much anymore. And I think part of it is that the games just kind of aren't really holding my attention anymore. They're kind of solely being built to bring in as much money as possible instead of actually just making a fun game. And in terms of Rainbow Six Siege, I think it was just because of the fact that the game was changing too quickly for my liking and changing too much. So there's a lot of stuff in regards to FPSs nowadays that kind of have driven me away from playing them, barring the fact that, Call of Duty really has been kind of having security issues, seemingly, so steering clear of that for now. But on the topic of FPS games that I think are actually doing pretty well in today's market right now is BattleBit. BattleBit Remastered, which, as far as I can tell, because I haven't had a chance to play it, BattleBit is kind of like this Battlefield type of game that has Roblox-like graphics, which is not a hit on it. I think, I think the success so far of BattleBit as an indie game is kind of proving something that a lot of us have believed for a while, and that graphics aren't necessarily the make or break of a game, really. As long as the game is fun, it can still be pretty successful. I'm just really proud for the devs of BattleBit for making a game that does seem to have a lot of popularity, and a lot of people are genuinely enjoying it because, alongside me just kind of playing games here and there whenever I feel like it, I also do watch a lot of YouTube from a lot of different content creators, and a lot of them have at least tried playing a bit of BattleBit, which has been very interesting to see. Not just, them playing a different type of game, but also them genuinely having fun with a game that looks as goofy as BattleBit does. So I'm just really happy with the fact that a game like BattleBit is doing success, and hopefully, I doubt it because it is kind of an indie level title right now, but hopefully, it can kind of drive a wake-up call of sorts to the dev teams and the publishers to be like, hey, you know what? Making a game that is genuinely fun from conception is actually better than trying to just drive artificial player retention and things like that. This is all just kind of me voicing some of the thoughts that I have in my head thinking about this game and other games like it. So, but speaking of FPSs though, a game that I'm actually very excited, being someone that has been playing Call of Duty for most of my life, X-Defiant from Ubisoft. A game that has been worked on for the past year and a half, I think, perhaps even longer, by past Call of Duty pros and past Call of Duty developers. And this past open beta session that I was able to play for a little bit was extremely fun. I didn't play it too much because I didn't want to overstimulate myself and burn myself out quickly. But for the little bit that I was playing the game, I was genuinely having a lot of fun with it. I think the game at its base is very sound and is extremely fun. Not only that, but someone who effectively is being the David Vonderhaar of X-Defiant, Mark Rubin, a past COD developer, his unbelievable transparency with the community online and being very vocal about all things, including stuff that they are kind of sticking to their guns on in what their game design was. Just a little bit of transparency and actual reasoning behind their decisions. It's such a breath of fresh air in this kind of modern gaming economy. and how things are kind of managed. So really the launch of X Defiant later this summer is something that I am very much looking forward to. And considering that both Genshin and Star Rail, both Hoyoverse games that I've been playing on and off, are kind of in a dead patch right now, it's very exciting to have a game close on the horizon that I can hopefully start just pouring a ton of time into. Because contrary to what I think a lot of people think about people who play games from Hoyoverse like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, we're largely not playing the game for like hours on end. We physically don't have the resources in-game to be able to play as long as we want necessarily. And if we do want to play longer, we kind of have to give ourselves reasons to that aren't necessarily like actually going to yield anything. They're literally just for fun. And genuinely, I really do wish that I could play Genshin a lot more because it's a game that I really do love. I love its gameplay, I love its characters, I love its story. But it does have kind of that live service game flaw of just genuinely having dead patches at some points when you're used to having updates pretty consistently. And I don't think that's to the game's detriment, really. Because I do think there does need to be dead patches somewhere along the line to give more hype to parts of the game where content is plentiful. And speaking of hype, though, people are losing their minds over the recent Fontaine showcases that we got at the end of the last version showcase. Which, I'm going to be honest, as of right now, I'm not the most hyped for Fontaine, because I kind of want to take my time with the upcoming version. The upcoming version 3.8 does look different. We're going to be in Sumeru, and we're going to be having some characters that we haven't seen in a while. You know, Klee, Kaya, and Kokomi, which, by the way, I am so excited to get my hands on Kokomi for the first time. For the past, like, year and a half, I have not gotten a chance to get Kokomi on my account as a healer and as a Hydro applicator. Because when I kind of just wanted to play, you know, Hyperbloom teams or Freeze teams like with Yelan and Ayaka, the only other viable Hydro character that I have is Barbara, which she's not necessarily a good Hydro applicator. She's a damn good healer. You know, that's kind of what she's made for. And so is Kokomi in a sense, but I'm also excited for the fact that Kokomi does have some decent, good DPS potential. I don't think she's going to be, like, super DPS crazy, like, main DPS worthy. She's not supposed to be, I don't think. But, you know, I'm just excited to have a new character that I've been excited to... I'm excited to try out new teams with. So, I don't expect everybody that is going to watch this video to kind of know as much about Genshin as I do, or even play the game as much as I do. But you can take my word for it that having Kokomi is definitely just going to broaden my team compositions and who I'm going to be able to play just to spice things up a little. So I'm very excited for her to be coming in the later half of 3.8. I definitely am going to get her 100% because as far as my wishes go right now, I have, I think, probably about like 60-ish pity on a guarantee. So she's literally going to show up probably within like the next 10 wishes or so. If I'm somewhat lucky. So I'm holding off on like wishing at all on any of the limited character banners, which means I'm skipping out on Kazuha and Alhaitham right now. I'm not gonna get a Eulacon or whoever is also running alongside Eula in the first pet. I think it's Klee. So yeah, very excited for Kokomi. Don't think I'm gonna be pulling for Klee, and I don't want to jeopardize my potential guaranteed Kokomi. Potential guaranteed. What? She is guaranteed. I am going to get Kokomi. I'm not gonna mess it up this time. Because, funny story for those who may not know, the last time that Kokomi was reran at the beginning of the 3.0 series of patches, I practically ended up throwing her away accidentally. So long story short, I knew that Nikita wasn't going to be coming to the game for a couple patches, and I wasn't particularly keen on getting any of the characters that were going to be rerun in between her and who was shown up at the time. So that particular banner she was on was being co-rerun with Ganyu, and I was looking at the wish screen and I just wished on whatever banner looked blue because they're both blue, And I think pretty early on in the penny, on a 50-50 run, I ended up accidentally getting a C1 Ganyu. Which, as it is, I mean, you know, constellations for 5 stars are always pretty helpful, but I don't know if necessarily Ganyu's C1 is all that helpful. Basically, every time she just lands a fully charged shot, she'll regenerate some energy for herself. Which I guess now thinking about it probably is helpful, considering that Ganyu's playstyle really is just, you know, spam charge shots and, you know, don't really do anything else. I've been pretty fortunate on this account to pretty much have every character that I could ever want. I'm not unhappy with who I don't have, and I'm perfectly happy with who I do have. So freaking adorable, I swear to God. It's just sometimes weird to think about, like, where I've come in terms of my gaming preferences and what I'm doing now and what I'm finding full enjoyment in. Because kind of like what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, I was all in on Call of Duty. I loved playing it, and I still kind of want to keep playing it, but the way things are going, it's just not enjoyable to keep playing. You know, primarily Genshin is the game that I play for enjoyment, so... I've seen a claim kind of going around. I don't necessarily know if it's true, just because I've always been a solo gamer. I like playing on my own most of the time, but modern gaming is a lot more lonely than it ever has been in the past. And from certain perspectives, I can totally get that, and I can totally see that. I just don't know how true it is. And I wonder if anyone who possibly has, like, played a ton of games with their friends in the past could maybe attest to that. I'm not sure. Maybe you could explain in the comments, you know, if that's something that you somewhat agree with or don't disagree with. Gaming is just certainly in a place right now. I certainly still have my fun with it, obviously, in the certain games I do find enjoyment with. And sometimes it's a pain to kind of look at the games that I've enjoyed for so many years in the past, and they're just not doing as hot. You know, things are going very wrong with them. But I don't think gaming as a medium of entertainment is dead. I do think there are still some dev teams out there who genuinely just want to make a good, fun game. And they'll use that game as a basis to bring in their own revenue through the game itself being fun, you know, not artificially trying to drive microtransactions or player retention and things like that. So in a way, you could argue that Genshin is guilty of that, trying to drive overall player retention in the long run by actively, you know, limiting a player's playtime through things like resin and time-gated quests and things like that, but also applying the idea of FOMO with limited time events. So there isn't any one perfect game out there, even though I may claim that Genshin is the closest thing to. It still is not, and I'm willing to admit that there are obviously still problems. But I do think there are games and game studios out there that are willing to genuinely make a good game for the players and solely drive the game to be successful because it's fun. And in some ways it leaves me hopeful, and in some ways it still has me hoping that in some ways, maybe in the future, game series like Call of Duty, I'm just mentioning Call of Duty because that's the one that I'm still closest to and I'm keeping an eye on in the hopes that it does change, but games like Call of Duty hopefully can, you know, return to their glory in a sense. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin in that for now. It's this whole sort of thing that, you know, not one person really has a right or wrong answer. There's always multiple moving parts, and I'm just a guy that kind of just wants to sit and play video games whenever he can, you know, in his free time or with his friends if, you know, they allow you to. There are also other games that I am interested in playing that, you know, just aren't, like, you know, online multiplayer games. Like, because I've played Smash a little bit in my past, I'm very interested to honestly, legitimately try out Xenoblade 2 to see Pyra and Mithra. That's something I've had on my plate for a while. And I've been wanting to try it, but I don't have the ability to. Games are just so expensive, and obviously free-to-play, you know, is kind of the only means of being able to do it comfortably, playing multiple different games. Which, yeah, by the way, if at this point you haven't heard of X-Defiant, and the way I'm talking about it is kind of somewhat interesting you, the game is going to be free-to-play. So whenever it launches later this summer, you'll be able to just kind of give it a shot and try it out. But yeah, regardless of how things may look bleak in terms of, you know, one specific game that one person may have played for a while, or if they're relatively, you know, open-minded in terms of playing a bunch of different games, I think gaming certainly is just in a strange spot, somewhat, quote unquote. Like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, and it depends on how you're looking at the gaming industry as a whole right now. Overall, I think I'm genuinely looking forward to the future of the games that I'm playing. You know, in terms of Call of Duty, yes, right now it's in a rut, but I think the final straw for me personally is just going to be whenever Treyarch makes their next game. If it's damn good, then I'll probably end up, playing that game for a couple years. Genshin, of course, is going to keep succeeding with, future updates. We got Fontaine coming this year. Natlan is going to be next year, and then we got Snezhnaya, and then Conria, and then supposedly Celestia. A lot of people have been believing that Celestia is going to be like a secret, 8th or 9th year, whatever order is going to be going on for Genshin's overall roadmap, along with X Defiant. So, X Defiant's going to be vibing when it launches. So, going to be very excited for that. I may try to do some of these videos more often. If not, maybe I'll try to start doing them kind of every day if I can. But, because this is honestly it's kind of cool just to kind of sit and talk and hopefully drive a little bit of conversation between you and me. So, but yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys did enjoy kind of hearing me kind of talk a little bit, and if you guys have any thoughts about the modern state of gaming, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'll be looking out for those. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see some more Genshin content like this. I'm always down to play the game and just share some of my knowledge about it. And yeah, with that, my name is Mike, and once again, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.